You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to Six Screens JW World News. Well, we do it every Saturday night, and we're doing it tonight, and tonight is November 20th, 2021, and we are counting down the last days of the Watchtower. Well, there you have it. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. My name's Rick Farron, and I'm glad you're joining us tonight, another Saturday night with JW World News. Of course, that's the news the Watchtower doesn't want you talking about, but we talking about every single Saturday night. We've been doing it for 16 years, and we're not giving up now. We're still here. I'm just going to check a couple of things here and make sure things are going smooth. We're on YouTube. I'm glad that you're with us on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well. And I want to thank you all for coming in and joining us on those two networks. And we are just gaining a lot of momentum here. Every week, we're gaining more and more people coming in. So we're glad you're with us. We really, really are. And we have a lot to talk about tonight. But anyways, I'm coming to you from the hub of the universe. That's right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. We also call it the apostate capital of the world. We've got so many people that are apostates up here in New England. Many people have left the Jehovah's Witnesses, and we are so glad that they do. And I hope you do too. And where you live, wherever you live, if you're in the Midwest, the Southwest, if you're down south, anywhere you are, don't you worry. You're going to have a whole lot of apostates soon because there's so many people leaving the Watchtower. Well, let's see if we can't get some news up here. But I want to tell you, I want to thank you. Yes. Did someone want to say?
May I make just a brief statement before you get started? I apologize. I didn't get to do it before the closeout of the last program. It's in regard to PMOs.
Yes.
Yes, I appreciated everything that Constance had to say, but I want to make the statement that PMOs fulfill a critical role in the ex-Jehovah's Witness movement. Johnny the Bethelite was a PMO, and there are many PMOs in that organization that if they were not there, people in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community would not know what is going on and how to assist Jehovah's Witnesses out of that organization. They would not be abreast of all of the things that are occurring if it weren't for PMOs. I'm a PMO, and I'm assisting Jehovah's Witnesses out of that organization. And I'm doing it not out of ignorance or out of desperation, but out of love for Jehovah's Witnesses and having pity for them because of what they are being subjected to. So PMOs serve a critical role in that. And so I just wanted to make that statement.
Well, no, it's a good statement.
Can I add to that, Rick?
Sure.
I also want to thank that sister for being a PMO. PMOs are very valuable for me personally because they've been so loving to help show me some photographs of my only grandchildren that I've never ever got to see, and maybe at least keep me up to date on what's going on in my daughter's life and her family's life.
Well, thank you, Randy. Thank you. Now, just that sister that is the PMO, did someone say something against PMOs that made you say that, or did you hear something you didn't like?
Oh, no, it wasn't against PMOs. Like I said, I appreciate everything that Constance had to say, but she did make a comment about PMOs and that they need to leave the organization or something She made some comment about chemos, and I just wanted to address that. But I do respect everything that she had to say.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for calling in. And we do appreciate, we always appreciate hearing from you as well. So anyways, we've got a big news night tonight. We've got a full program here in the 6 screens. You don't want to go anywhere. You want to stay with us. Anyways, let's talk about this. Announcements and reminders. Well, I got some more this week by Atlantis. He's our secret in the know guy. I'm not sure who he really is, but he goes by the name Atlantis. And he sends me reminders and announcements that you hear when you're at the meetings. Remember when you were Jehovah's Witness? They always had these announcements and reminders. And we get to hear them here before the Jehovah's Witnesses even hear them. But we want to thank Atlantis for sending me those. And he sends them to some other apostate people as well. But we thank Atlantis for that. It keeps us right up to date. But what they're going to be reading this week in the Kingdom Hall is concerning the pioneers. Yes, in fact, I'm going to read you a letter. I've got it right in front of me here. So I'm going to read you the letter and see what you think of this. I do have it here somewhere. Here it is here. So actually, it was just written on November 18th. So that's only 2 days ago. So I just got this yesterday, and they're going to read this. This is for the elders. They won't read this to the congregation per se, I guess, this particular one. But this is for the elders. It says appointments of regular pioneers. It says, please use good judgment as you encourage publishers to reach out for regular pioneer service. Those who do not think that they will have the circumstances to reach the annual hour requirement once the pandemic subsides should not be approved as new regular pioneers. Let me just kind of emphasize what they're saying here in the letter. So if you're going to sign up for a regular pioneer and you don't think you're going to be able to meet the new requirements, I believe it's still 70 hours a month that you have to get in. If you don't think you're going to be able to get the 70 hours a month, you really shouldn't be signing up. They're taking a reverse stand here because up till now, in fact, even right now, prior to this letter evidently being read, if you were a pioneer, you didn't have to report any time at all. Did you know that? And you would still be considered a pioneer because of the COVID. They gave all the people a break. Even the publishers were given a break. So up till now, if you were a pioneer, you could be a pioneer without reporting any hours. So then it goes on to say each publisher needs to count the cost, and no one should be pressured to submit an application simply because there is presently not an hour requirement. So they don't want you just to fill out an application right now because you can do it because you don't even have to report any time. So they want to make sure that this pandemic's over. If it ever does get over in the Jehovah's Witness world, they're going to go back to 70 hours from what I understand. So perhaps those who are unsure whether they would be able to reach the annual hour requirement in the future, maybe they could serve as auxiliary pioneers for 1 or more months instead. Please help those who do not qualify to serve as pioneers to find joy in their whole-souled service. So there you have it. So that's interesting. I find that rather fascinating. Even the organization knows the increase in the regular pioneers isn't real. You know, they can come out on their Zoom meetings. They can stress during their annual meetings. They can stress it on these JW broadcasting events they have. Oh, we have increased. We got more pioneers. Yeah, you have more pioneers because you know darn well people would sign up if they didn't have to report 70 hours a month, right? So that was the deal. Now, some of the pioneers, in fact, this is what I understand. In fact, congregations are reporting this, that some of the pioneers are doing fewer hours than just normal publishers. It's going to hit them hard when they have to go back to normal hours, wouldn't you think? You know, if you've been reporting yourself as a pioneer and skimming by with 7, 8, 10 hours a month, and maybe just 2 hours a month, you know, it's going to hit you hard when you have to go back. It's very interesting how they frame a full-time volunteer job as a highly desirable position of attainment. Isn't that true? They've always done that. If you're a pioneer in the organization, you are in the elite class. You are something else. You are in a position that not everyone can attain. And that's what they make you feel. That's why people pioneer. That's why people reach out in the organization, because it puts them above everybody else. It makes them an elitist. And since only a few people can afford to give away all their time and their energy to the service of being a pioneer, it makes that pioneer symbol, that pioneer term, especially for women who certainly can't climb the ladder too much in the Watchtower, it's very meaningful to them. And not only that, when you're a pioneer, well, you get interviewed, right? In assemblies, convention parts. And, you're always introduced as brother and sister, pioneer. They've been pioneering for 10 years. Aren't they wonderful? Isn't Jehovah praising them? So by design, the manipulation to get people to do this work of pioneering, it pays off, maybe not monetarily, but it pays off socially, big time. It elevates you. It puffs you up. Now, sadly, I have to say that even some pioneers find the title empty when they achieve it. When they get to the top, they realize it's very hard work, thankless work, and most unsatisfying. And we had a special pioneer on here a while back, and boy, she said it was a grind. And she had to get 150 hours in a month. And she lived in South Dakota. And she says many times it was 25, 30 below zero. And they had to go out. And they were making $15 a week at the time. And they had to put gas in the car. Isn't that something? So, these pioneers, they've always had that status. And it's amazing. It's amazing how even the pioneers, they look down at people who are more stable in life. Oh, why can't you pioneer? You should be pioneering with us. And, they kind of look down on these people because they are doing the things that normal people do. They can enjoy life. They can afford to buy some things from time to time. In fact, one pioneer that gave me some information this week, he mentioned that he stepped down. He said, he just couldn't take it anymore. And he got counseled from an elder. In fact, it was the week of his wedding anniversary. And he got counseled. He stepped down. He didn't want to be a pioneer anymore. So he's getting a lot of flack given to him by the elders. And one elder actually gave him counsel for taking his wife out on their anniversary to a hotel for a nice meal. And the elder that was counseling him, he thought that he was getting very materialistic since he stopped pioneering. How foolish is that? How foolish is that? It's an embarrassment. The organization is going to be embarrassed when they have to report at some point here the drop-off of pioneers, because people aren't going to be putting up with it. But, they can cook the books. That's what they do. They cook the books. And, no doubt they'll be highlighting the increase of the pioneers during the COVID pandemic. But when the pandemic somewhat comes to an end and all the pioneers leave, what is that going to be like? They'll gloss over the big time decrease next year. I'm sure of that. Well, you're on with us. Who'd like to say hello? Go ahead. *6.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. I always thought it was interesting when Watchtower would make reference to reaching out for the pioneer, or reaching out for a greater share in the ministry. It's like the subliminal manipulation that they use through their language choices is amazing. The subliminal feeling that you get of reaching out, it's almost like you're reaching for that goal that you're so focused on that goal. If you could just stretch reach it just a little bit farther, just a tiny bit farther. I'm almost there. You know, they almost try to instill this, like, it's such a noble thing. You know, they don't say go for it. It's reach out. And they call it a privilege. But the truth is if they push you to do more and more and more. So how dare you, instead of doing more, to step down and start thinking you can do less. They'll get you for that. And I love the way they say they counsel. They counsel. No, they browbeat you with their authority and their words. Thank you, Rick.
Well, you're welcome, Emery. Thank you for checking in with us. Yeah, so you can expect a big decrease in pioneering. And why would you want to pioneer? I mean, I don't know what it was all about. I never did pioneer. I never even auxiliary pioneered. But sometimes I get some good hours in. Sometimes I get, I think, up to 25 hours or so in. But, you know, I tell you, it's a lot of work. It's really a job. But there is a certain status symbol that goes along with it. And many of the witnesses do it. And they love it. And, you know, they'll invite them up at the conventions, as we said. Oh, come on up here. We have Sister Pioneer. Well, my daughter, she was a pioneer. And when convention time came, they always had her come up there. And she was working at Starbucks. And they'd say, now, Jacqueline, you're working in a coffee shop part-time and pioneering. What a fine thing that is. And all the people would clap and everyone, you know, it gives you, the pioneer feels like, wow, this is wonderful. Look at the attention I'm getting. So they don't make money, like I say, but they certainly do get a lot of attention socially. Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, now this week at the meeting, I should say last week at the meeting. Last week, someone want to say something before we move to the next story? You're on with us if you like to.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Farron.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, I was just listening to this pioneer story with interest and so forth, and the number of hours they had to put in. And I was listening with interest too in South Dakota, or the Dakotas in general, if they even go out in this sub-zero weather. Well, anybody that lives in sub-zero weather and so forth is going to have their minds on keeping themselves warm. They're not going to have their minds on religion whatsoever. And in the past, it hasn't done very much good for anybody to go door to door. They didn't gain met people as much as they should have for all the hours that they put in, no matter what they call themselves, pioneers or whatnot and so forth. So, and it's going to be a lot harder to get back in it now. So I got a question here. How do they expect to prevail in promoting the society with these pioneers or anything like that? Doesn't make sense to me. So, but I guess they're going to probably try something again, but well, hopefully it's not going to work.
Well, I think it's over. In fact, I do believe it's over for the Watchtower and gaining people to be so loyal. And of course, you must remember a lot of the loyal ones were, you know, young ones committing themselves. Young ones can get out and hustle around. How do you get older people out running around and slipping on ice and out in the hot sun? So the young ones, they were really relying on, but a lot of young ones, they're leaving the organization. They're not going to be pioneering. So I would say you could stick a fork in the pioneer work, because I don't see how much further they can go with it, really. And not only that, you have so many people waking up to and smelling the coffee. What advantage is it? If you were a salesperson, let's just suppose you were selling widgets, and your boss said, okay, Ricky, go out there and sell some widgets, would you please? So you go out and you knock on doors all over the place, and nobody buys your widgets. So the next day you go out and nobody buys your widgets. So you go a whole week and nobody's buying your widgets. Would you stay with that sales job? Absolutely not. It's the same thing with the pioneers and Jehovah's Witnesses in general. Here you are knocking on doors all over the place, writing letters. Now they're writing letters and calling people up on the phone. Really, nobody's responding. And so consequently, what you got here, you're going to be disgruntled. You're going to say, what's the use? Nobody's even reacting to what I'm saying. And friends, I have to tell you, do you know how many hours? Well, this would have been back in 2005. that's when I disfellowshipped. But back then, do you know how many hours it took to bring one person to baptism in the Jehovah's Witness religion? How many hours do you think it took? 9,000 hours. So that means, look at all the time spent in the ministry. 9,000 hours to bring someone to baptism. That's not a good batting average. Really, it's not. So, I don't see a future for full-time servants. I don't see a future for Bethelites. How are you going to get young people to come to that organization? They're saying everything online.
Hello, Rick.
Yes, Constance.
Hi, Rick. I was going to say that's why Watchtower is focusing so much on those who are born in. Because when they're born in, they're using the little Sophia and Caleb little videos and cartoon characters. Because a lot of the young people who are, teenagers, they're really waking up and they want to get the heck out of their parents' home. They don't want any part of this. But that's why Watchtower just spends so much time in their marketing to be able to focus in on the young people, because they need the young people to continue on with their quote unquote legacy of this cult, And what's interesting, Rick, with regards to pioneering, I was not a regular pioneer, but I was at the time called a temporary pioneer, or auxiliary pioneer now they call them. But yeah, that's where the majority of the sisters, I mean, when you looked at it, it was the majority of the sisters who were out there on the street corners and so forth in San Francisco, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Of course, there were brothers, but the majority of them were sisters, doing the majority of the full-time pioneer work. And it's just a status thing, because we know how women are treated in this organization. You're never allowed to give a Sunday talk or teach the congregation. So this is how the women think, well, this is my opportunity to have some kind of status in this organization. But, Rick, when I was out there as an auxiliary pioneer, we were wasting our time. I kid you not. I mean, most homeowners, or even if they were renters, the husband and wife, they were out, they're both working full time. It was extremely rare you'd find somebody home during the week, unless it was maybe, a police officer and it was his shift was off, he was off that day, or, but the majority of people, we were wasting our time, wasting our gas and our time. It was like a full-time job. Nobody was home, Rick? So thank you.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the gas, because, hey, gasoline is going up big time. But of course, they're not driving around right now. That's another thing. They're just on the phone and they're writing letters. But once they do go back, if they ever do, and go out to regular door-to-door hustling, boy, that gas price, I mean, in some parts of the country, there was a woman the other day on television, she said she paid $6 out in Arizona a gallon. How could a pioneer possibly afford that? They're going to be dropping off like flies if they do go back and that gas price stays up like that. Okay.
I don't think the old days will ever come back like that, Rick. My town looks a little bit like the oldest parts of Boston. We have those beautiful row houses, and there's nothing like going out in service and having the door slammed all the way down the row.
Now, where are you, Pixie? You in Louisiana?
No, I'm in the American South, but like Boston, we have brick row houses from 1700s.
Wow. Oh, yeah, no, I've been down through this. Beautiful, beautiful, yes.
And Philadelphia has them too. And there's nothing like when you do a row and the whole neighborhood doesn't want to see you.
There you go.
Cheers, everybody.
Oh, yeah, thank you. No, that's true. I've actually witnessed. I went door to door in Pennsylvania, row housing. I'll tell you what, that's a chore and a half. But I'll tell you what's even worse. You get into the inner cities, like some of the cities up here in Massachusetts, and you go into these tenement houses, 4 and 5, 6 stories tall, and you're climbing stairs. I'll tell you, that's a chore and a half. Hey, I don't know. I want to discourage anyone from becoming a pioneer. There's nothing in it for you, believe me. Nothing. Zero. So let's see what else we got. Videos. Well, I don't know. Maybe we get some more people who want to speak up. Go ahead before we move. Boy, I'll tell you, screen is lighting up.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Farron?
Yeah, hold on, Ken. We get some more that might want to talk, so let's let them in first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Well, yes.
Yeah, New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I talk?
Of course, yeah, you're all set, Jeff.
What happens is, it's funny you talk about that. When I went out with a brother he was actually a Bethelite from Denmark, and he was coming, again, they put him in my congregation for some reason, and I went with him. We go to the poorest area in Manhattan where the low-income projects were, and I see a sister on a bus stop. At like 9 o'clock, we get there, and then until after we went to a days. We put a lot of time, and I was enjoyable with his brother. I go back there, and at 8 o'clock, I see she's still sitting on the bench. I said, 12 hours? She's like 80 years old. And that brother says to me, and that sister puts in 300 hours a month. Yeah.
300 hours a month?
I said,
hours?
Yeah, 300 hours a month, yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know if that makes sense to you, but just think, if you're taking 10 hours times 30, what did I say? 10 hours times 30 is 300. Yeah, she would sit on the thing right outside the bus stop. Was a free senior lunch place, the seniors. So anytime she got hungry with another sister, she go inside, have a snack, and go outside, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Compliments of New York City Lunch Department. But it was weird deal. This elder became a Nephilim, whatever you call them, the one that worked with the governing body.
Nephilim.
300 hours a month. I said, what kind of life? Yeah, I didn't say it. I just thought, what kind of life does this poor thing have? She's sitting on the bench in a freezing cold, wearing old clothes, and a smile on her face. It was sad to see it, but whatever makes you happy. If you like to burn in hell and say it's wonderful, fine. If you like to, you say sitting on a bench for 10 hours in 10-degree weather is great for an 80-year-old. Do your thing. Thank you.
Well, Jay, Jeff, that is unbelievable. I never heard anyone getting 300 hours a month in. I tell you, that is just over the top. I know Special Pioneers back in the day had to get 150 hours in a month, but 300, that must break the record. She probably holds the world record for hours in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, go ahead.
She had nothing else to do but sit on a bench, and right next to the bench was the soup kitchen.
So that was it. That was it. She counted.
And she had
and she counted her time. Yeah.
And it was funny because I looked at her. She was happy. It's like you heard of lobotomies, right?
Oh yeah.
The Watchtower is like getting a mental lobotomy. They give you a shot at the treatment, and you're never the same.
Well, it's funny.
And then you got vertigo with it. Watchtower form of vertigo.
Well, it's
like
a good.
Constance knows.
Good illustration. Good illustration. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jay. Go ahead, Dick. Yep.
If I could.
When the Watchtower sold off a lot of its properties in Brooklyn, they made over $1 billion. Do you think they could share some of that windfall with the pioneers? Absolutely not. They don't care if the pioneers are paying $3.50 a gallon or $4 a gallon for gasoline. They don't care if they break the backs of the pioneers. They're so greedy and so perverted that I just get upset trying to even talk about it. Thanks, Rick.
Well, Dick, in fact, I have to say to you now. You and I went down 2 years ago in August. 2 years ago, August, we went down to Brooklyn, and we were in search of Johnny the Bethelite, as you remember. And we were, looking around. There's still a lot of Watchtower property owned by Watchtower. And in the Brooklyn Eagle last week, I was going to bring it up on last week's news. I didn't have a chance to. But in the Brooklyn Eagle, there was an article on how much more property the Watchtower has left in Brooklyn. Now, 2 years ago, when I got on jw.org, I believe it was 2 years ago, they were saying that they sold all their property off. They still have a lot of property, including a parking lot that they took off the market because they're trying to work a deal with Kushner. Now, that is Trump's son-in-law. and it's worth close to $1 billion just for this parking lot. It's right there in Brooklyn Heights. It's one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive piece of property in all of Brooklyn Heights. So the Brooklyn Eagle was talking about this, and they're trying to put a deal together with Kushner. Can you imagine that? It's close, I guess, to $1 billion for a parking lot. And they've been holding out for years because they know that would bring big money, but they still have plenty of property. They're still selling property off, but yet give a pioneer $10 for a new shirt. It would never happen. Never happen. All right, you're on with us. You're on.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Brother Farron. I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
It's kind of like irrelevant, really, to the subject, but what is your plan for this Thanksgiving coming up?
What's that?
This Thanksgiving coming up. What are your plans?
What are my plans?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my plans are just I'm going to buy a turkey. You gotta have turkey on Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm going to get a turkey, and we'll cook it here. I don't expect any of my Jehovah's Witness relatives or friends to come and have dinner with me, but that's okay. I'll have it here. So I'm gonna have a turkey. I'm gonna get cranberry sauce. I'm gonna have mashed potatoes. I'm gonna have corn and carrots and everything else, and even some pumpkin pie. How's that?
So you're not inviting anybody over besides you and Susan? I mean,
Well, I mean, you want to come? You're invited.
That is too late now, Brother Farron. I mean, my son is going to Pennsylvania to my sister's house.
Yeah.
The
Well,
thing is, I could have gone to my sister's house for Thanksgiving, but I have to work the next day. My father's not going to come home on Sunday.
yeah.
So it's not going to work for me.
Well, I mean, it's a funny thing, and next week I'll even talk about it a little more. Well, of course we won't. Next week we won't be able to because Thanksgiving will be over. But thank you for bringing it up. But it's very hard to get into the holidays. It's very, very hard to get into the holidays. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the Watchtower messed my mind up, but I just can't get excited. I love to. I love it, especially up here in New England, and it gets cold, and you can smell the smoke from fireplaces, and it's like Currier and Ives, and everyone's shopping around. I just can't get into the spirit. I think the Watchtower stole it from me. They did something. There's a lot of witnesses that feel the same way. How about you?
Yeah, you're right. Kind of feel the same way, really.
Yeah, you just can't get it.
Tips for you, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Pixie.
First of all, get the raw cranberries and make the 10-minute recipe on the bag.
Well, you're probably right with
no
that.
skill at all to do it.
Yeah.
And it makes great ice cream topping the next day. And the other thing is realize that Charles Dickens actually invented Christmas as we know it. And that might help you to appreciate how the stores and all are decorated.
Yeah. Well, that.
Now, my question is, I think Christmas is a Saturday this year. Are we gonna be on the call on Saturday?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. No, we've had it on Christmas before. Sure, we have the call on Christmas.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We do our Christmas show. Yes.
We do?
Yeah, I get presents. In fact, I get gifts.
don't remember.
I got gift certificates. I got some prizes for people on Christmas. Yeah, looking forward to it. All right. We okay. Well, let's move on. Let's see what we got here. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, though, and I do wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And then maybe I really do. It's a nice time. I like this time of year and how we were robbed when we were witnesses. And I used to lead the group. I used to be the guy that took the group out on Thanksgiving. What a terrible thing that was. And you know what? I tell you, I'd go down to Kingdom Hall, and there'd be 25, 30 people sometimes. And I was the guy in charge of bringing the group out. I don't know why they picked me to take people out on the holidays. All the other elders, I guess, didn't want to go. Many of them weren't there. But I'd go out on Christmas and I'd go out on Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about really having a difficult time. I mean, I'm a salesperson. I've been a salesperson all my life. I don't mind going out making cold calls. But I'll tell you what, it was tough making cold calls on people at their doors, trying to sell them on the Jehovah's Witness religion, and going door to door on Thanksgiving and Christmas. That is one of the most difficult things you'd ever want to try to do. And I know you guys, many of you have done it. But I'm thinking to myself, even when I was a witness, a full-fledged witness, I'm saying, now, what is my message? Let's say Christmas Day. I say, what's my message here for Christmas? Well, what am I supposed to tell these people? Not to celebrate it? And I can remember one house, I mean, I got nervous. Like people would get nervous. I don't want to be knocking on doors where there's a whole lot of cars there. In one house that I went to, there was like 10 cars. You know, they had all their family. And I'm thinking, but I was leading the group, so I had to take the lead. But, you know, I'm thinking, gee, we shouldn't really go here. Why do we want to irritate these people on Christmas Day? You know, they got their family. That's going to be embarrassing. So I had a sister working with me, and we knocked on the door, and oh man, all the people were in there. Hi, who's that? And geez, about 20 people ran to the door. Talk about embarrassing. And what do you say? You know darn well you don't appreciate Christmas. And I could smell turkey cooking and ham, and oh my goodness, it smells so good. And I'm going, what am I going to say to these people? So anyways, hi, my name's Rick, and we're doing a missionary work in your neighborhood today. And, you know, I just wanted to let you know that things are going to get better someday. I mean, hey, they're already having a good time. Why tell them it's going to get better? They're having a good time. That's one of the best things to do, is be with your family. But you know something?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how nice the people were to me. They said, oh, that is encouraging. I wish that, you know, my church would send people out like you guys. You guys are really faithful. I didn't expect that. I expected them to slam the door in my face, but it was pretty good, you know? Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't like it. I didn't like going out then. Some people were irritated, obviously, because they knew darn well Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate Christmas. So they're thinking, well, what are you coming around on Christmas for? But the same thing with Thanksgiving. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving either. And there's no reason for that. I've looked that up a number of times. They try to
check the PBS one part on the Pilgrims, and you'll see the real story and how strict they were, but they had the holy name. It's real interesting. And a lot of people think that an earlier Thanksgiving was in Virginia. So Thanksgiving is just a part of American history where the Indians literally saved the bacon of the white settlers.
Yeah, well, of course, Plymouth Rock is right here in Massachusetts where I live. And Susan.
Yeah, you got to see that PBS one part on the Pilgrims. It's really good.
We went down and we visited Plymouth Rock, my wife and I, I'd say probably about 7 years ago. And then, in fact, there was like a little tour you could take. And they had like a replica of the Mayflower. And so you went on there, and the tour guide said, you know, whatever you learned in history about Plymouth Rock and the Pilgrims, get it out of your mind because it's not true.
Yeah,
that's what they said. And they said,
when I saw that PBS, I about fell on the floor because it was so different than what I had been taught.
Yeah, she says this idea of the Mayflower coming up and people stepped off the ship onto Plymouth Rock. She said that could never happen. Look at it. I mean,
they had a rough time up there.
But you know, the one thing I did learn is the Pilgrims were a cult, and they left England.
This PBS one part, it's all about their religion and why they were kicked out of England, and it was fascinating.
Yeah. So, yeah, they were a cult, and they were leaving England, or they got kicked out, as you say, and they're trying to find a place where they could have a peace of mind, and they landed up here in Massachusetts, of all places. All right.
And really, we should all be thanking the native peoples. If we come from 1620 or whatever, like my family, we should be saying thank you to whatever those tribes were that saved us.
Yes, you got it, Pixie. Well, I know you like history, but that's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. Anyways, we'll move on here. But thank you for this. I'm glad you brought Thanksgiving up because I didn't realize it's next week, right? And we would be over by the time we have our program. So I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. All right, now let's talk about a video that was played last week at the meetings, and it's really creating some dissension. It's a video all about association and loyalty. Here the witnesses go again. You know, they want you to associate with non-worldly. They want you to associate with people that aren't worldly. Let's go with that. That would be only Jehovah's Witnesses. And they want you to be loyal to one another and to the organization. They don't want you to really be loyal to your company or your business or anything. All of the attention goes to the witnesses. And many people who watch this video, I didn't see it, but people were telling me about it. They cringed. In the video, they were talking about co-workers and how terrible co-workers are. Well, many of you people out there, working people, and you go to work every day, and you have co-workers, you have friends at work, and they're nice people, right? They're not all bad, worldly, demonic people, but they try to pinpoint them as being terrible. And anyone that isn't one of Jehovah's Witnesses, we know, well, they're going to speak of them as being evil. That's what the Watchtower does. And I've been noticing lately, boy, the Watchtower has really been ramping up the rhetoric about association at work with the world and about obedience. They want you to obey the command, the chain of command, the governing body. They're really ramping up how they want you to be more obedient than ever to the 8 buffoons in Warwick. That's the governing body. Now, I'm telling you, why do I keep playing this? And in fact, lately, they've been talking a lot about association, stay away from people that aren't, even witnesses that aren't strong, stay away from them too. But they're really coming down hard on people. Yes, go ahead. Someone want to speak up? I thought I heard someone. Okay. So anyways, they've been really, like I say, putting the pressure on witnesses at work, and don't spend time with people at work. Don't be friends with your co-workers. They're not good people is what they're saying. They're not good people. So why is it that the Watchtower is ramping up this rhetoric? It's because so many people right now are waking up and leaving. That's the answer. That's the bottom line. More and more people are getting up and packing. Well, look at on these forums online. Look at Reddit, for example. When I was on Reddit, I joined I'd say probably about 9-10 years ago. There was 7,000 of us in there. There's 67,000 people now, ex-witnesses, that are writing on Reddit. YouTube, look at all the YouTube videos. Look at even the people coming in here to the 6 screens. It's unbelievable how many people are leaving the Watchtower, and they're talking. It's like the domino effect, right? One falls over and they just keep going. But how about multi-level marketing? Did you ever join Amway? Were you ever a multi-level marketer? And how they do it. It's like a pyramid scheme, right? Where you go out and you bring 5 people in, and then those 5 people each bring 5 people in, and it really multiplies like crazy. Well, that's the same thing that's going to go on with the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's going to multiply like crazy. You get 5 people out, and then each one of those tells 5 more people. Before you know it, thousands of people are finding out how bad and evil the Watchtower is. So I want to bring that up tonight. And I thank everyone for coming in. Now, listen, we got a big night of activity here tonight. I want you to stay with us. Yes.
Hey, this is Joey.
Yes, Joey.
Hey, I just to chime in on that comment. I just got in the last part of it. But there's, Cedars, Lloyd Evans just had a video. He congratulated himself and well deserved. He hit 100,000 subscribers. 100,000.
Look at that. Well, what's that tell you?
Yeah, right, exactly. And I just got off of out of a house where I was in, and a buddy was talking to me, and he's in our state. He listens to you on YouTube, and he was saying he had an uncle out in Carolina that he said they're leaving in droves out there. He said his uncle was an elder and a pioneer, and relinquished it. He said because he told the elders if he ever found out about a pedophile, he was going to go straight to the police, so they removed him as an elder. And then so he's in contact with him. And he said there's circuit overseers quitting out there, elders, pioneers, all sorts of stuff. So it's really hitting the fan. So.
Yeah, it's all happening. I mean, you can see all the YouTubers. They're gaining more people listening in. All the YouTubers, I always put a shout out to them, all of them, all the apostates. Boy, they're coming out of the woodwork, and it's helping so many people. So that's a wonderful thing. All right, so we have got more pedophiles to report here tonight. over in Bunbury, Australia. Well, just a couple of days ago, actually, well, back on November 15th, we had Jehovah's Witness who was sentenced to prison after repeatedly sexually assaulting his young daughter. How many of these stories do we have to hear? I mean, we talk about it all the time, but this happened in Australia, repeatedly sexually assaulting his young daughter, right in the headlines, Jehovah's Witness. Are people seeing this? Are really Jehovah's Witnesses waking up and seeing this? Do they see the problems the organization has with pedophilia? I think so. And that's not the only thing this week. Also, I want to bring to your attention Frederick Cecil McLean. I'm sorry. I want to bring that to your attention. This guy, he was on America's Most Wanted. Does someone want to say something? Go ahead. All right. If not, just keep yourself muted till we speak up here. All right. So, years ago, I remember reading about this Frederick McLean, known as Rick McLean, a Jehovah's Witness pedophile. Well, he was on the America's Most Wanted program. He was on the United States Marshals 10 Most Wanted list. Well, he was found dead in South Carolina this week. So that was interesting. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to play a clip. I'm just going to mute some people here. All right, hold on one second. I got some background noise going on here. I'm going to play you a clip of a news broadcast concerning McLean. You'll hear it. You'll see it if you're on YouTube and Facebook. Listen in. Let's play it right now. Just give us a second. Let me see if I can't get to it here. Let's see. All right, let's play the clip. First of all, let me just do this first. I've got to share it. Let me do this. Just give me a second. Just takes a second. I got to share the screen. And I got to go over here. We'll play the clip. All right, let's do it.
Could a nationwide manhunt be zeroing in on San Diego County?
Just give us a second here.
10 News reporter Michael Chen is live in the newsroom now with the details. Michael?
He is on the U.S. Marshals list of most wanted fugitives. Officials call him intelligent, armed, suicidal, and very likely hiding in San Diego County. A friendly neighbor turned wanted man.
Surprising, shocking.
3 years into the manhunt for Frederick McLean, Marianne Bentley still can't believe.
Nice. Talkative.
The man that lived just up the road from her Fallbrook home, a father of two she often saw with groups of children, is on the run.
I just thought he was a good guy that was out with kids.
Instead, prosecutors say he was a predator. According to the U.S. Marshals, McLean used his power as a Jehovah's Witness to lure young girls. It's unclear how many victims, but they say one victim estimates McLean molested her over 100 times. It's believed McLean committed these acts over a 20-year period. And when investigators closed in,
he lost a lot of weight.
McLean disappeared with more than $100,000 in cash. 10 News has learned tips, including some involving possible online activity, have pointed investigators back to the San Diego area. Along with Fallbrook, records show McLean has lived in Vista and on this property in El Cajon. Wherever he is, officials fear McLean will strike again.
The kids, they don't deserve that. We need to be their voice.
On this night, her voice, joining a chorus of law enforcement, hoping for tips.
If he's hurting children, yes, he needs to be put away.
And to that end, the U.S. Marshals also looking at the Anza Borrego Desert and the Cuyamaca Mountains, where McLean frequently camped. The Marshals expected to release more information on the case sometime tomorrow. Live in the newsroom, Michael Chen, 10 News.
Well, there you go. There he is. They mentioned the story, Jehovah's Witness. He's been on the run for a number of years, molested young children, one in particular over 100 times. He was found dead in South Carolina, 70 years old. According to federal officials out of San Diego, that's where he's from originally, landed up in South Carolina. But neighbors, evidently in South Carolina, were concerned about him. They didn't know he was a pedophile, but they were concerned about him. They didn't see him for a while, so they checked into it, and sure enough, he was dead in the house he was staying in. And it was reported that he was indeed McLean. But this story, I can remember seeing it on America's Most Wanted, and even way back then, years ago, 2008, somewhere around there, perhaps 10, they brought this story out, and they mentioned that he was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. The witnesses have got to be seeing this. I just cannot believe that they're missing all of this. They should be looking for the exit door at the Kingdom Hall and quitting. Believe me. Would you want to belong to an organization that has so many pedophiles and people are beginning to know about it? The world, the court of public opinion is knowing all about this. Even the witnesses are knowing about it, but they're discounting it. It's just absolutely crazy that this is happening. And he was a Jehovah's Witness, said it right in the newscast. Isn't that bringing reproach on Jehovah? Really, that's why they got to get away from this Jehovah's Witness, Watchtower. They got to get rid of that image. That's why they got jw.org. They can't go on like this. They just can't have this much dirt under the rugs and expect people not to see it. You run with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Rick.
Yes, Connie.
Hi, dear. This is a very interesting story because, he was in Southern California and I'm in Northern California. And I remember Walsh having that on America's Most Wanted with his name. And for those who've ever watched that show, I can't think of his first name of Walsh, but he was the one that had his little boy Adam, who was killed from a pedophile. So yeah, this McLean was a JW, and he was into camping, and he also used to love to repair cars, like hot rods and stuff like that. So I literally had him on my phone because they said he went up to the state of Seattle, or excuse me, the state of Washington, where Seattle is. And I had the phone number in case, I have family up there in case I had ever seen him up in that area. But this is really interesting, Rick. I'm glad he's gone and he can't harm any other people. But did it say the cause of death? Was his cause of death at all, Rick?
It didn't say, Constance. No, it didn't say at all. So I'm not sure really what the cause would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Thank you, Rick, for sharing that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that out to you guys tonight. Yeah, in fact, most people I do know would have heard the story. He was really a very infamous Jehovah's Witness, very, very infamous. Let's take a look here. I'm just going to bring up another video here, which I think will be of great interest. So stay with us. A lot of fluffy stories in the media lately about Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know if they're paying the media off or what, but let's see if we can't get into one right now. Let me just get over here and let's put this up. I'd like to have an engineer working with me here and help me out here a little bit, but it's okay. Hold on one second. We're going to play a video here, but I just want to get it queued up here. It's concerning Jehovah's Witnesses are getting very excited because the media is airing their propaganda. A lot of fluffy, puffy stories in the local media, mostly concerning Jehovah's Witnesses. And, they're interviewing a head official. We mentioned this guy before. His name is Hendricks, Brother Hendricks. I believe this guy is going to be one of the next presidents of the Watchtower. You watch and see. They're using this guy a lot. I brought this up before. But they're using Hendricks to come on some of these fluffy, puffy media propaganda programs and how great the witnesses have been doing during the pandemic. So I want you to listen to portions of it. We might play it. I might even play it all for you. It's about a 6-minute clip, but it's fascinating. I want you to hear what this guy has to say. And there's another brother on there as well. And they're at a news station in Houston. And they're bragging all about the witnesses and how wonderful the work has been during the pandemic. So why don't we get that up right now? Give me a second. And let's see if we can't get that up right now. Play it. Let me just get in here and make a couple of adjustments. And we're going to share things here. Let me share the screen so you guys will be able to see it. And let's do that. All right. Listen in.
Remember the good old days before the pandemic when people coming to your door didn't have to wear a mask? And sometimes there were friendly members of the Jehovah's Witnesses coming to talk about faith and to gain your interest as well. They also had huge conferences through the year that drew millions. Well, that changed drastically when the COVID pandemic hit and took what seemed to be the main part of the faith away. Well, the faith in the millions who follow it still alive, and there's some noticeable changes. But there are good changes for the organization. Robert Hendricks is a U.S. spokesman for Jehovah's Witnesses. Dorian Gamble is a local media representative. Thank you both for joining me. Mr. Hendricks, I know we talked earlier, what an abrupt change. Did you have millions of people through conferences around the world on a regular basis? Then when you went virtual, that was abrupt, but it seemed to have been successful.
Well, you can't plan for a pandemic. So as we think about what happened a year and a half ago, 19 months ago, it's not only unprecedented, it's historic. And we look back on it and we come out of this, we think, a better organization, better able to serve the 8.6 million Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. When we went to a virtual format in meetings and also in our ministry and also with our conventions, it was something that new for us, but we had been preparing for.
This guy really gets to me. He's your typical Jehovah's Witness guy, so loyal to the Watchtower, but lying through his teeth. Here he is talking about loyalty to Jehovah during the pandemic and how grateful they are to Jehovah that their ministry is still working so great. But, is it really? Think about it. I mean, how can it be? How can this is cognitive dissonance at its best. You can't, how is it possible that they're saying things are wonderful, but at the same time, I'm reading you stories like we just read here tonight about these pedophiles this week alone, McLean and this guy in Australia. And this stuff comes across the news every week. The witnesses are seeing it. You get on YouTube, look at John Cedars, as even Chewy just said, 100,000 subscribers. Where are these people coming from? They're getting out of the organization. Reddit, we're even seeing an increase here in the 6 screens and people coming in. Facebook, look at the Facebook groups. So how can it go both ways here? How can this guy get on? This has got to be a paid puff piece. I cannot imagine that this news station in Houston, Texas, it's a local news station, would bring the witnesses on. They must not have too much going on in the news. This is a paid piece. And there is paid pieces like this. They call them fluff or puff pieces, where people actually pay. Things will slow. The news media needs a few bucks. They'll take it on. So the Watchtower has been lobbying here lately, and they're getting these puffy pieces in the media all around the country. And it's just very, very upsetting that they're really lying through their teeth, as this Hendricks is doing right here. If someone wants to say something, I'm going to play more of the clip, but if someone wants to say something before then, go ahead.
I thought it was interesting that he just so casually says serving the 8.6 million. Really? When millions, hundreds of thousands have been leaving and hundreds of thousands more are saying, hey, we're out of here. We're just biding our time. We're just waiting until we're old enough. We're just waiting until we have enough money. We're just waiting until we have a good enough job. Just wait until I can get a place. Really? 8.6 million? Thank you, Rick.
All right. Well, we're gonna put him back on here. Let's listen to more of the video. See what else he has to say.
Virtual environment for many years. Our JW library, 15 million users each month on 15 million devices, 600,000 audio and video, all free. And so we've delivered content for free in a virtual way for many years. And so to shift our meetings and to shift our ministry to a virtual environment was really the next step. And I think our brothers and sisters around the country and around the world have done very well.
And Dorian, I know that here locally as well as nationally, it's a different kind of scenario when people, instead of going and knocking on doors, it's a virtual kind of outreach. What has that experience been like for members of the organization over this, members of the faith, since it's been virtual? How has the transition gone? What kind of feedback are you getting from them?
Well, the feedback has been marvelous.
I'll stop right there for a second. I mean, I'm thinking here. Now, we have a video here that's 6 minutes long. Is there any news media outlet in Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Phoenix, wherever you would be? Is there any news media outlet that would run this infomercial? I'm going to call it an infomercial for Jehovah's Witnesses. This is a paid piece. There's no question in my mind that it is. But they're here gloating over, oh, how wonderful everything is. And we know darn well it's not. These guys are lying through their teeth. It can't be. Come on. You know, friends, we all went to school for the most part, didn't we? Some have more education than others, but, you know, it's very elementary. It's very elementary. You can't have it both ways. You have all these people leaving. You got all the tarnished news coming across the internet, coming across news media. This is a fluff piece. This is nothing more than a paid advertisement. I don't know what they would have paid to have it done, but boy, I'll tell you what. But you know, people fall for this. That's why I'm getting upset. People fall for this. They listen. Oh, isn't that wonderful, honey? Oh, look at the witnesses. Even though they can't come door to door, they're still getting people on the internet and writing and all of that. Let's listen in. Let's see what else they have to say. It's nutty.
The transition has been exhilarating, really. We were used to being out in the street in the public. You probably saw our carts down on the Strand or in the medical center, or we were in the airports. And now we've really honed in our skills in talking to people in new ways. That may mean, I know you mentioned, Kimberly, you ran into people in the grocery store and they were able to share something of encouragement. For the most part, we've been contacting people via phone and letter writing and seeing marvelous results. And as a whole, locally, we've seen that.
Oh, hold on right there. Contacting people on the phone, in letter writing, and seeing marvelous results. I got to disagree with him. I live in a condo complex over here. And, you know, I go out and they're writing letters. I see the letters in the barrels. Right next to the little mail post office they have here, where all the mail comes. They're taking the Jehovah's Witness letters and they're throwing them in the barrels. People aren't reading those letters. We know that's not true. And what about people calling up on the telephone? Really? I mean, do you listen to all of these salespeople calling you? Geez, now we have Jehovah's Witnesses calling. Do you need that? I mean, do you think oh, you're a Jehovah's Witness. I'd love to know about them. Are you kidding? They're not even answering the phone. When the name Jehovah's Witness comes up, all they think about is pedophilia, child molestation, cover-ups. That's all they think of. So this is all propaganda at its best. I know I hit the roof here with some of this stuff, but it irritates me because this is how the witnesses have always been. They got where they are today by not telling the truth. They never told the truth. Never, ever, ever have told the truth. And that's how they got to where they are today, by lying and lying and lying. And if they lie enough, people believe it. Sad to say that's what's going on. Any thoughts? Go ahead. You're on with us. All right.
Yeah, Rick, you know, my client, can you hear me, Rick?
Yeah, yes, I can. Yep.
Am I on?
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I was muted or not here. My client, who's a JW, you know, she does this with the phone calls, and I ask her, you know, how it's all going. She says they hang up on us. I said, honey, I'm not surprised. You know, people outside of the JW world know what the Watchtower is all about. She says, yeah, you no sooner start talking, they hang up. So, you know, Rick, he's just frosting the cake, you know, he's just lying through his teeth. That's what he's doing. So thank you, Rick. You know, well, people know they've got Watchtower's number, Rick. They have their number.
Well, they do, Connie. And, you know, I'm not going to pretend here to be some type of a person that can judge a person on the surface. But this guy, Robert Hendricks, this high official for the Watchtower, he irritates me. And I don't mind saying it. Mm-hmm. This guy really, You know, there's just certain people, Connie, even women have this feeling even more than men. But there's certain people that you're around and you just feel very uncomfortable. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever
yeah, big time.
Yeah, when I see this guy, I feel uncomfortable. He is the ultimate snake. He's a weasel for the Watchtower. Yes.
Hey, Rick, he's like Joseph Goebbels, minister of propaganda for the Nazis.
Yes. I'm with you. I'm with you, Jeff. Yeah. So, yeah, I see this guy, and I tell you what, he makes my blood boil because he's good at it. He's a good con man. Dude, there are such a thing as a good con man. He's one. Geez, he looks right at the camera and he's lying through his teeth. Well, let's listen in. Let's see what the rest of this crazy propaganda media story has to say. Plus, he has another elder there with him from the Houston area, and they're both, the Watchtower. Let's listen in.
That many of the congregants have drawn closer to each other.
This whole process has been rather unique. The question now, Mr. Hendricks, is
many of the congregants have drawn closer to each other by going on Zoom. Now, is that realistic? The ones that I see, they're shutting the Zoom meeting off and vacuuming the rugs and not even watching it. And all the PMOs, people that are physically in, mentally out, are leaving. But all the congregants, according to this elder in Houston, he's saying that they're drawing closer to each other. I just can't buy it. I can't. Listen in. Let's see if we get this out. Okay.
Is how long you plan to continue doing this. Obviously, you can't plan for a pandemic. You can plan to try to come out of it, though. What is the near and long-term prognosis for the virtual context?
Well, it's interesting that you say you can plan to come out of it. I think we have a good idea how to go into a pandemic because of all of our what we've done and all of our experience over the last 19 months. We don't have an idea how to come out of it. And so we're working on that. And in fact, we've just in the last weekend piloted, tested meetings in 12 congregations in Puerto Rico, which is at alert level 1. So it's the only place in our branch territory in the United States that qualified to have meetings. We had localized meetings, invited guests, vaccinated, and we actually had very successful meetings this weekend. We're going to be testing that for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to look at what the issues are, how to make these meetings hybrid so that they're virtual and live. So that
let's stop right there. The term that really seems to be floating around the Watchtower these days is hybrid meetings. Have you heard that term? Hybrid meetings. Now, what that is they're going to experiment having some people going in person to the Kingdom Halls, and then they're going to have some people on Zoom. This is so clever. Everything works in favor of the Watchtower. These guys know when they open the Kingdom Halls for the first time after 2 years, nobody's going to be there. There's going to be so many empty seats, but they're going to have an answer. They're going to say, oh, look at all of our seats aren't filled. But you know, Brother Farron, they're all listening online. They might not be vaccinated, or maybe they're kind of elderly and don't want to come and get the COVID, but they're listening online. What a story they're going to give the people. They are scared to death. And not only that, not only is the Jehovah's Witness organization Watchtower, not only are they afraid of not getting people back to the meetings, but they're afraid of protesters. I'm already reading online on Reddit, for example, that people are already planning now for protests if they do go back, say for the memorial, which I don't think they're going back for the memorial. But when they do go back to the meetings, assemblies, conventions, Kingdom Halls, the protesters are going to be coming out of the woodwork, including me. I'll be out there along with our protest team, and we'll be protesting as well. And not only that, including you, Jeff, and including a lot of people listening in tonight. We're not going to listen. We're going to be real activists. We're going to be out there protesting like crazy. And not only that, not only are they afraid of the protesters, but they're also afraid of the Kingdom Hall crashers. And I'm going to tell you, don't underestimate that. It's not for everybody. Some people thought it was kind of rude, which it could be. It could be construed as that. But I'm going to tell you something. These people that got up there and crashed the Kingdom Halls, they were ticked off. Many of these people that did that were molested when they were children, and they had the right to go in there and tell those bums exactly how disturbed they are over this organization. And they're scared to death because they've hurt so many people that these Kingdom Hall crashes will be back. And you know something? The police don't even do anything to the crashers because they know how evil the Watchtower is. So that's what they're all afraid of. Yeah.
Rick, those people, I watched a lot of those Kingdom Hall protests on YouTube. Those people went in there and they told those people that were sitting in that hall what they needed to hear about all the pedophilia, the shunning, how it destroys people, all the suicides, the blood doctrine. They told the truth of every video that I watched. So that's my point there.
Well, that's a good point, Jeff. It's a darn good point. So, okay, let's listen to the rest of this baloney. See what other lies they're telling here. Let's listen in.
That we can provide something that over time may roll out to the rest of the country and the world.
Very impressive the way that you have already kind of pre-positioned your organization to be able to take advantage of the changes that you've had to make. Dorian, I know for the month of November, you were focusing on a particular kind of outreach, and you have kind of a title to it as well, which is rather uplifting. Talk about that.
Yes, the goal of this campaign here in Houston and around the world is to distribute a special edition of the Watchtower magazine with the subject, A Better World is Near. Now, the message is about hope. And we know that hope is not what we know, but it's actually what we believe. And this magazine really bridges the gap between hope or knowledge and belief. For instance, many people in Houston have prayed the Lord's Prayer. They know it. But what does it really mean when that kingdom comes? Well, this magazine.
Well, I can't even listen to any more of this, so we're going to let it go. But the special Watchtower is going to go out during November here. Special campaign, writing letters to everybody, overwhelming the post offices around the world. So, okay, let's get rid of this. I can't take any more of it. Let me just...
Hey, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, don't you think that person that's interviewing him is very scripted? It's like they've taken a lot of time talking about all this, and it seems like the interviewer knows more about what's going on than Mr. Hendricks or Brother Hendricks.
Yes,
I'm
well,
sorry, I didn't had to add that.
Well, you're absolutely right.
I was going to say.
Well, no, that's a very good comment. I'm glad you're an observant lady, because that's what I observed too. That's what they call a puff piece. That was paid for. It was well scripted, and even the commentator, he's not a regular commentator. You know, he was so much in favor of the witnesses. I don't know if he knows much about them at all, because if he did any research at all, he wouldn't even want to have done that piece. Really. Thank you, sister. Yeah.
Could I mention one more thing?
Of course.
Okay, so I have a family member that's in and does a lot of phone witnessing, and I have to hear it. It's very hard to listen to the point I bought earphones for the person. Anyway, I hear when the calls are done to the people, and they're trying so hard to be polite, you know, and I feel so sorry, because I could tell a lot of times they're like born again Christians that are thinking, oh, how thoughtful, but they don't know, you know, that they're trying to actually convert them. And, you know, it's upsetting, because, you know, everyone knows when you go door to door, you're not telling everything you know, you're just telling part of it, and little by little, you're expecting that person to change. And so that's really hard to listen to when I hear it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that this person has no idea that the actual goal isn't to uplift the person. Because I remember one said, please pray for me, and things like that, because I guess the person was having trouble. But little did she realize it's not about that. It's just to convert them and all that. So that's all I was going to say.
Thank you, sister.
Okay.
I think, are you a new caller here tonight?
No, I've called once or twice.
Well, I'm glad to hear from you. Always good to hear. Now, don't you be a stranger. Good to hear from you. Thank you. Thank you. All righty. Well, there you go. New one's calling in, and it's really wonderful. But yeah, no, she nailed it. She nailed it. It's a phony baloney piece. You're on
Hey,
with us.
Rick.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah, Rick. When I listen to these guys, the couple of words that come up for me are amoral. And most people think amoral things, immorality or something. But amoral has to do with just being moral, period. Like, these guys don't have any consciousness at all about lying their asses off. And that's what they're doing. They sound like they're timeshare people in a freaking meeting, having a timeshare meeting. Well, things are going good, aren't they, Bob? Yeah, Bob, they're going, back in Michigan, maybe other places, we'd sit around and we go, oh, bullshit. It's just pure bullshit. And I just have to say it like it is, Rick. I don't want to pull any punches here. These guys are a bunch of bullshitters. And why you're mad and why I'm mad is because when we were in there, it felt like there was some sort of integrity going on. Building Kingdom Halls in a day or two and transferring the money from hall to hall. And, we thought, man, Jehovah's with it. But to watch these men lie, to say, things are just super wonderful, magnificent on a Zoom meeting, like you said, it's hard to listen to. But I'm with you, man. I just think, how dare these men, pieces of shit, liars. These are liars and fathers of a lie. And they're making it up as they go, and it just makes you vomit to listen to them. Sorry I'm so out there, Rick, but I'm like you.
Hey, Dan, they're criminals, man. Dan, they're criminals. That's what they are. Those 8 guys in New York, the criminals. They're con men.
They don't have
They're living like kings off all these poor people that are coming into Kingdom Halls and donating money. Other people that are donating money, they're living off of that. The numbers are down. That's why they're asking for money now. It ain't hard to figure out. Just do your research, folks.
Yep. Thank you, Ray.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hey, this is Justin. I've called in probably about a month or so ago, but I'm a PMO and former Bethlite as well. But to your point earlier, the witnesses, they don't want to go back out door to door. I was speaking with a brother today, as a matter of fact, up your way out of Hartford, Connecticut, or whatnot. He doesn't know I'm a PMO, but he was just saying today he's dreading the day that they have to go back out door to door. He said he's just really enjoying the savings with the gas and not having to get dressed or whatnot. And even he admits, speaking to me and whatnot, that the door-to-door ministry is just not effective, especially in the United States branch territory. So you're spot on. They don't want to go back. He doesn't want to go back to the hall. He's an elder. As a matter of fact, he's the service overseer there in right out there in Hartford. But you're spot on. They don't want to go back doing the door-to-door ministry. They don't want to even go back to the Kingdom Halls because of the distance and the travel. And I think one thing that the society is missing is that a lot of these people, for the first time in their life, are actually getting a taste of some freedom and how it feels to not be in a rat race. Going to the meeting on a Tuesday night, bringing the kids out, dragging them out, having to cook real quick before you go, and then trying to get up for early morning service on Saturday, going to the meeting on Sunday. I just don't think the society realizes how much of a comfort that the local friends are feeling from this, and trying to drag them back. They're just not, and especially those who didn't take the vaccination, they're not going to be able to go back. So there's a lot of little stuff I think the society is missing and missing the mark on as well. You've mentioned this point before, and I'll wrap up here, but them being on the camera so much, I think that's turned a lot of people off. Just a bunch of older guys, no real genuine heartfelt love coming from them, and people can see that. Years ago, you would have your local brothers giving talks, and now there's a lot of recordings and videos that are just not done that well. The production is done well, but
the acting and the whatnot is very poor, and I just think that misses something there. Sorry to be long-winded, but thank you.
Well, Justin, no, anytime at all. I'd like to hear from you. You sound like you know a lot about what's going on behind the curtains. And thank you for checking in and chiming in with us tonight. Thank you. All right. Chewy, go ahead.
Yeah, I work for Home Depot virtually, and they were going to go back down in Atlanta, and they took a poll. And empty. Everyone,
Hold on, Chewy. Chewy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're with us. A lot of background noise. I don't know if it's coming from you or someone else, but go ahead.
Yeah, but anyway, and he showed a picture. They went up there this past week, and they picked up all the rest of their stuff. They are not going back. Home Depot has 3 empty buildings. That's where their corporate headquarters is, and those people are not going back. They don't want to go back, and so that's going to filter over into the witnesses too. You know, it's got to filter over somewhat. You know it is.
Oh yeah. Well, what Justin just said, the man that just called in, I mean, when you get used to, 2 years of not having to get in your car, put the kids in the car, dress up, and go out in the cold, and come home late at night, who needs that? It's gonna really hurt. And the Watchtower knows they're not gonna get the people back to the meetings. That's why they're doing these hybrids. And you watch, they're gonna use that as an excuse. Everything always works in their favor. So they can say, well, you don't see many people here because they're afraid to come to the meetings. Oh, it's unbelievable. All right.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it too. When
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if we got some spammers coming here or not, but I'm watching it closely, and we'll get rid of them if they are. Go ahead, Dan.
But yeah, it's like you say, man, when you've been away for a while, and you've been, like this guy just said, you're doing your own thing. You've experienced this sense of freedom. And then to hear Watchtower say, hey, we got some new Watchtowers talking about the end. We're real close here. We're building a multi-million-dollar media center. It just doesn't jive, Rick. And I think sooner or later, here's the thing I know. Sooner or later, something speaks to you in your soul. Something calls you and said, this is BS. Get out. This is BS. There's something. And I think this time is perfect. This shutdown, this time they've had away, they don't have all the disciplines and all the, getting dressed up. I know they do that for a Skype, but I'm just saying, they've had a sense of freedom, like this guy said. That was a really cool point he made. And to hear again, hey, we got new Watchtowers that got more bullshit. I mean, it's like you start to say, my God, this is garbage. This is garbage. Because, Rick, here's the thing. Our souls are crying out for the truth that sets us free. Our souls are hungering and thirsting for truth. And this is not truth. And we know it. Instinctively, our minds can be made up, Rick, but our souls know the truth. We can hear the voice of truth. And these guys don't have it. Thank you, Rick.
Well, there you go, Dan. Yeah, everything you said, I'm with you 100%. 100%.
Okay. Amen on that last brother. I feel 100% the same.
Yeah, come on, sister, and talk to us.
Oh, brother.
Sister, we got 2 or 3 people coming in at once here. I'm going to go with Florida. You want to come in and say hello to us, Florida?
Yeah. This is Rick from Central Florida.
Oh, Rick, okay. Yeah, Rick, how are you?
I was trying to get on, trying to touch all the numbers. I didn't know if I was doing it right. I didn't know what to jump in or what. So, first time caller, I don't quite know what I'm doing.
Well, thank you. That's okay. We don't know what we're doing here either. So you're all right, Rick. You're in good company.
I just had a couple quick things I wanted to point out that I didn't know if everybody knows. On the interlineal, the Greek interlineal, that they've made some printings of it, then stopped.
I know, yes. Yep.
Yeah, we had the word for word Greek on the one side, and then you had the New World Translation Testament on the opposite side of the page.
Yeah, we had the blue one, and then we had the green, and then we had the purple one, the purple people eater.
Right, right. And in the beginning of that book, you have all the J's, and when you look through the book, you'll see when they put Jehovah in a place in the New Testament, they'll have a couple of the J's noted underneath, so you can go and reference back to the beginning of the book and see who those J's represent. In other words, supporting the use of Jehovah in that position. And I look back and looked over all the J's, and they're all Hebrew scholars and popes of the Catholic Church and bishops of the Catholic Church, people that they should have no way been having any dealings with, and I wouldn't think would want to help them out anyway, for all the scathing comments that had been hurled at them from the Watchtower in the first place. So it seems to me that's an awfully weak platform to justify why you're putting Jehovah's all over in the whole New Testament. But it's kind of hidden in the front of the book, and most people don't quite get it because it's hidden in a lot of language. But I just wanted people to know that if they have a copy of the interlineal, go back to the beginning where you see all those J's. The paragraph underneath it tells you why that particular J is there, and read about the person who they're leaning on for support. And it gets very sketchy very quickly.
Well, thank you. Obviously, obviously they're wrong on so many things, of course, in their theological teachings too. But thank you, Florida, for checking in with us, and thank you for being a first-time caller. Thank you.
Do we have enough time for one more thing?
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. Let me get to it here real quick. I remember about a month ago, we were all talking about whether or not the word rapture was in the Bible. And I called you up on like a Friday evening, and I don't know if you got that message or not.
I don't think I got it.
Okay, well, this is well that I can get it to you now. In, I think it's 1 Thessalonians. I'm getting there. I'm going to go in now.
I don't remember the everything. I remember, so you don't have to.
I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Well, we got the brother here trying to give a scripture here.
I'm almost there.
All right. Well, we got a brother here trying to give us a scripture showing us how wrong the Watchtower is. Well, we usually don't get into preaching on Saturday night. Once in a while, we have to talk about theological thoughts and theological problems the Watchtower finds himself in. Are you there with us?
Yeah, I'm here, and I found the message. It's in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, about halfway down through the verse is the point where it says, at the same time, together with them, we will be, and it says, snatched into the clouds, into the meeting of the Lord. But the word snatched, when it's translated into a Latin word, the word is rapturus, or raptoro. There's two different ways to write it. And raptoro is, the meaning of it is the same thing, to be snatched away and up and out. So practically the word rapture or raptoro is in here if you do a little bit of the homework on it, which, you know, when I got this copy of the interlineal, I have Green's interlineal Bible, which is from, Genesis all the way through Revelation, and I got Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, which is keyed to the interlineal Bible. Boy, if you want to learn a lot of stuff, those two books
can help you.
Interlineal Bible and Strong's Exhaustive Concordance.
Yeah.
Those two together will help you immensely.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. In fact, you got me thinking because, governing body members, just a couple of weeks ago, we played some, from the JW Broadcasting, Brother Hurd as well as Brother, well, who was it? Brother Let or Brother Splain? I'm not sure. I'm using the vernacular, of course. They're not my brothers, but they were saying that they were saying that they were going to be taken to heaven. They were going to, now that is rapture. Now they might not want to use the word, but they were saying they were going to be taken to heaven. So thank you for sharing that with us, brother down there in Florida. Thank you very much. Okay, so who?
Shout out.
Hello, Rick?
Yes. Hold on, Connie, for a second. I'm going to bring in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you want to come in, come in. If not, you're being St. Petersburg, Florida. You want to come in, say hello. If not, I'm going to ban you out of here.
I'm not St. Petersburg, but I'll come in and say one more.
Well, no, I don't have time for one more thing. I want to go to St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, you with us?
Bullshit.
All right, get out of here. You're being banned. Get rid of this guy. He's a banana head. All right, go ahead, Constance.
Okay, one thought, Rick, I'd like to say in reference to, well, two things. It's wonderful to hear the new people, having the courage to speak up, because it's all great. But I'd like to go back to what Justin had to say with regards, being a PMO and so forth. He said something very interesting, Rick. It's been like 19 months since the organization has had their meetings shut down. But then in the outside world, they've been going to church on a regular basis, okay? So you think, what in the world is going on with Watchtower? Why? Well, we know it has to do with their agenda, and it's trying to figure out what the agenda is. And Justin just said something, Rick, that made me think about this. Watchtower's been pushing the jab on all of their congregants, and I'm sure there are many that have had the jab, the COVID jab, but, I'm sure there are some that have not. Now, just think about that. Watchtower, you think they want to have everybody come back to the Kingdom Hall? Some who have been vaccinated, some who have gotten the shots, and some who haven't? Because we know that scientifically there's a problem with the shedding, okay? So for those who have not gotten the shot, what happens if they end up getting the spike proteins from those who have had the shots, and then maybe they end up coming down with COVID? Well, you know what? I could see some more lawsuits that Watchtower could be facing. And Watchtower might know that, Rick, and that could be it's just a guess, but it could be a suggestion as far as why Watchtower is so hesitant about opening up the Kingdom Hall. And they want to play this game that some people will be in the Kingdom Hall and then others will be in the Zoom. So it's just an idea, but Justin said something there that really made a lot of sense to me, Rick. So thank you.
Well, no, he did. He makes sense. He's been on before, and he speaks it like it is. We thank him for coming and wanting to talk with us. There you go. My goodness, we got more things happening here on the 6 screens. And tonight, don't you leave us, even after JW World News is over in about 25 minutes or so. We have more programming. We go on all night long. This is just one of the programs. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, this is the only program that goes on YouTube and Facebook. But if all goes well, we have a man coming up next. We're going to keep him on YouTube. And his name is Reese. He comes out of the belly of the beast down in New York City. And he's an ex-witness. And he gets into some of this conspiracy stuff. You're not going to hear it elsewhere. We talk about it here on the 6 screens. But he wants to give you the history of the Illuminati tonight. He'll be coming on about 9 to 9:30, somewhere in there. And he wants to give you a history of the Illuminati. And he wants to tell you how Charles Taze Russell has been involved with it. So if all goes well, he'll be coming on with us tonight, somewhere around, figure around 9:15, and the Watchtower and the Occult Connection. And if you're on YouTube, we're going to try to keep it on YouTube. If not, you can just if you're on YouTube right now, hit the description bar, and that'll show you how you can listen in on our other networks. So give that a shot. Okay. Cocoa, Florida, you want to say one more thing? We'll give you one more thought. All right. Okay. Well, we'll let that go.
Was I?
Is that you? You want to do one more thought? Go ahead. Yep.
Cell phone. I don't know if it comes up Cocoa or whatever. we're here in Palm Bay area. I'm not sure if it comes up in Cocoa though.
Oh yeah, it comes up in Cocoa. So go ahead, Cocoa, Florida, or Palm Bay. I know where Palm Bay is. My brother-in-law lives there.
Okay, yeah, just one more quick thing. I've noticed that with the great many people that are leaving the witness organization now, the vast majority of them I see have become borderline or altogether an atheist, you know, and I understand they've been burned by an organization before, and, you know, burn me once, shame on you, burn me twice, shame on me. So I understand the apprehension, but after all, the truth of the matter is, we are to be worshiping Almighty God, Jesus Christ, and, you know, it's not his fault that we got tied into a bad cult and, you know, it took a lot of our years away from us. But our goal as Christians is to always keep searching for truth. And if we had given that up, we would still be like one of the ones in the Kingdom Hall, you know, sitting there in one of those Delta waves, half asleep, half awake, you know, hypnotic looking thing when you're getting the talk to you. And, you know, and that's how we would still be too. We're out of that and talking and thinking because we never stopped looking for truth. We never took it as status quo. So, you know, I pray all my brothers that are leaning on becoming atheists, I beg them, please come back and give God a chance. He's been there for us all along, and he has done nothing to us, only for us. So,
well,
I'm hoping and praying that.
Well, that's a good prayer. That's a good hope. In fact, you want to listen in. We don't on Saturday nights. We don't get too much into preaching because of that, because there's so many people leaving the Watchtower. They've been so spiritually abused, and they hear anything about religion at all, they run the other way. But on Sundays, tomorrow, every other Sunday, tomorrow's one, we have our theological teachings. People who left the Watchtower because of theological reasons. Why don't you join us tomorrow? We talk about Christian things for those that want to learn about Christianity. We don't preach to them on Saturday night, but on Sunday, we have ex-witnesses coming in and talking about their new beliefs and what they believe and how they became Christians or whatever their feelings are on spirituality. So why don't you join us tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock? We got a great program. It's called Knowing God. So why don't you join us tomorrow if you can from Florida?
Yes, I will, Rick.
Yeah.
What time does it begin?
It begins at 1 o'clock. So why don't you come in tomorrow, 1 o'clock? I think you'll find it very fascinating. We have 2 Christian apologists that come on, and then we have ex-witnesses have programs. We have one man that comes on. He was associated with the Watchtower writing department. He worked on the Trinity brochure. He has his own program here at 4 o'clock. So why don't you come in at 1 o'clock tomorrow and see what you think?
Yeah, it sounds like a nice opportunity to maybe give your voice a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We can't preach on Saturday night. That's the problem. A lot of people don't like it because they have been so spiritually abused. But we understand that. But tomorrow, if people have a theological feeling, they still want to stay with God, tomorrow's the time, 6 Screen Sunday, beginning at 1. Same telephone number. Everything's the same. All right? Thank you.
So the format is for us more to listen and learn.
Oh, yeah. Listen and learn and ask questions. And just what you're doing here tonight, you'll find it very fascinating.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
All right, come in
By
tomorrow.
the way, Rick, my name's Rick also.
Yeah, well, thank you, Rick. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you very much.
It's my first time. I didn't think I'd get
well, we're glad we're glad you're in here with us now. It's good. We've been doing this.
I want to know right now.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Help me now or not.
Hey, St. Petersburg. You know, why don't you just hang up and get out of here? We get bombarded here by spammers and witnesses, and you know they don't like what we do here because we're exposing the evils behind the Watchtower. Okay, you know, in fact, I found in the last week or so, I found this fascinating online. There's a church that actually has an ice cream truck, and they're actually giving free ice cream to kids, and they're not asking for money like the Watchtower is. So I found that very fascinating. I'm going to give you that story, so stay with us. Yeah, what it was online. There was an ice cream, and there was a religion, a Christian religion, that is actually going around with an ice cream truck and giving it to kids, poor and needy kids who would like to have an ice cream. What a difference from the Watchtower. The Watchtower there a while back was asking kids to donate their ice cream money. I'm going to play a video. I'm going to play a video of that thought on how the Watchtower was asking kids to give their ice cream money. So let me see if I can find that for us. Just give me a second. I'm going to put it up here, and let's see if we can hear it. I think you'll find it fascinating. So let me get in here and share it, and let's go and hear what they have to say. Then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. So ice cream money, ice cream. Let's go over here. Give your ice cream money. A little video that this YouTuber, ex-witness, made. Did a great job on it. So let's share it. Let's hear it right now, and let's do it. Hold on one second. Share. Takes a little while here to do some of this stuff. I'm just a one-man guy here. So just stay with us. I think we're ready to go. Okay, let's see if we got it. It's very confusing at times. I'm trying to put videos up here and everything at the same time. So just stay with us, and I think you'll find it interesting.
Ice cream money. I mean, be generous. Okay, we've established this kid is dreaming of ice cream. Oh, how convenient. There's a donation box right next to her when she's thinking about what to do with her money. Well, the message seems clear to me. Propaganda is far more important than ice cream. What a good little cult member, sacrificing her last penny to put up more propaganda mills. I think we could all learn a lesson from little Sophia here. Give the society your ice cream money or die at Armageddon.
Well, there you go. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, that was Telltale. That's a YouTuber, ex-witness. Does a great job on that. But they had a while back, a couple of years ago, the Watchtower was actually suggesting with the Caleb and Sophia little cartoons, how the kids should give their money to Watchtower. And don't give it to the ice cream man, but save your ice cream money and give it to the Watchtower. Can you imagine that? But what was fascinating is I came across this ice cream picture, ice cream truck. In fact, see if I can't get that picture up for us. See if I can't get that up for you. I want you to see the picture. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it. Let me share it with you. Hold on one second. Share the screen. I'm going to go over here to the Chrome tab. Okay. Share. And let's see if we can't show you the ice cream truck, because it got my attention. It really did. It really spoke volumes to me. There it is right there. I think you guys can see it now on YouTube, on Facebook perhaps. There it is. There's the ice cream truck. All right. Now, what a difference. Here we have a Christian church that's got this truck. It's an ice cream truck. And it's going around giving out free ice cream to the kids in needy neighborhoods. What a difference from the Watchtower. That's the difference. Other religions, they do tangible things to help the poor and the needy. In fact, all of the years that I've been an active Jehovah's Witness, I have never heard of anybody who got any help from the Watchtower organization. And that's a fact. No help at all. The Watchtower does nothing to help anybody. And I've never heard of a Jehovah's Witness who ever got anything, as I said, from anybody from the Watchtower. I'm just trying to chew gum and walk at the same time here, folks. But they're not generous. They're not generous. Now, you might find some elders that are generous. They might dig into their own pockets and give you a few bucks if you need it. I know one guy that he did need a few dollars, and an elder actually gave him a few bucks, but he didn't get it from the Watchtower. And if anyone,
there's a lot of churches that have food banks and toys around the holidays for the children and stuff like that. Yeah, Watchtower doesn't do anything for anybody unless they're a witness, and they do very little at that.
Very little. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this is Joe from Colorado. I just want to share a brief experience. Today, I had the privilege of feeding. It was for like a Thanksgiving at the middle school, and there's more happiness in giving than receiving. The Watchtower really forgot all about that, but I really enjoyed serving the community, and this was people that that they're shut-ins, people that have a need for that, and I just really enjoyed serving the people in our community in Brush, Colorado. And it was a lot of hospital staff, the sheriff's office, the state troopers helped out, and also the Brush PD and Fort Morgan PD. So there is more happiness in giving than in receiving. But I want to share one experience with you, if you don't mind, to show you how the Watchtower treats people. We were having our very first convention at Mile High Stadium. They were going to tear down Mile High Stadium. You may remember the Broncos used to play there before they built Invesco Field. And we had a large convention. It was going to be 4 districts. And I will never forget that they had some problems with the vendors. A lot of the vendors had contracts. So when they would have an event, they got to go in. So they had to take legal action. And of course, the vendors were not allowed to go in. Well, during the break, and I was still in the Watchtower at the time, I was a platform overseer, I was taking my lunch after the walkthrough, and I was watching the parking lot outside, and I noticed there was this man, him and his son. He had an ice cream truck, and he was in the parking lot, and there was a long line of brothers and sisters, kids, getting ice cream, and he was, serving them and trying to make some money. And lo and behold, there were about 4 attendants, and they were sent out there, and they made that poor man and his son shut the ice cream truck down and leave the area. They could care less about a man and his son trying to make a little money. When it comes to the Watchtower, they can care less about individuals, not just people that are non-witnesses, but even those in the Watchtower. Look at what they do. We've all seen the video of encouraging little kids to put their ice cream money in the contribution box.
Disgusting.
So I just wanted to share that experience.
Thank you.
Shame on them for chasing away a humble man and his son trying to make a little money with an ice cream truck.
It's disgusting. It really, really is. In fact, even last week we reported on the jw.org site, right around this time of year, they're showing people how they can contribute money to the Watchtower. And their giving desk. They have a desk. They call it the giving desk, where you can donate money. Now this year, there's something new. They're taking crypto coin. They're taking Bitcoin Crypto. Now think about that.
Crazy.
Many Jehovah's Witnesses, believe it or not, do own crypto, and the Watchtower knows it. So they're asking them to donate. Anyone has crypto, if they want to donate cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, to the Watchtower. Man, can you believe that? That is absolutely something that should be really questioned by any Jehovah's Witness that's following this organization. They're taking anything.
That's desperation, Rick.
Yeah, it is desperation. Really, to even ask that, but they know. See, they know the witnesses own a lot of crypto coin. They know that, and so yes,
This is Sharon.
yes, Sharon.
I just wanted to say about little Sophia giving up her money instead of going to the ice cream, which she looked like she really wanted.
Yeah,
That's a sacrifice. What has the governing body ever sacrificed for anybody? They get their meals, they got a roof over their head, people donate cars, they go on trips with planes. What really have they ever sacrificed except for asking the members to sacrifice?
Right, Sharon. The answer to that is zero. They've never, and then they have the audacity to come on with their expensive suits. They have the audacity to come on with their pinky rings, even Rolex watches we have observed by governing body members. They have the audacity to come on and ask you to keep giving and giving and giving, and it's making the witnesses sick. There's many leaving because they're asking for too much money. Yes.
Hey, Rick, can I add one more thing?
You forgot the liquor bill, Rick.
Yeah, we got a few people coming on here once. Let's go with Fort Morgan, Colorado.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing, and I actually got triggered doing this. Now, I was raised in the Watchtower from 3 years of age, but I left at 18, and of course they found me, guilt tripped me into a study. I got baptized in 1983. Now, the man that was studying the publications with me was a control freak, and this is what he told me. He said, once I became baptized, he said, in a couple years, they're going to start looking at you to become a ministerial servant. He said, and so I followed this to a T. He said, put in double the national average, so that's 20 hours a month. Auxiliary pioneer 3 to 4 times a year, and don't cause waves with the elders. Now, from 1983 till the time I left, I was excommunicated in 2012, okay? I started to tally up, and I just did a $4 per hour to tally up all the time I put out in field service, conventions, meetings, elders meetings, judicial meeting, the whole thing. And I tallied over $300,000 of it. And it triggered me. It triggered me. That's the money a person spends serving a lifetime to this corrupt organization. That's just an average, too, by the way.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So can you
This is the
imagine?
first debate.
So can you imagine a person that was born in and spent 80 years in the Watchtower doing all that, conventions, assemblies, elder schools, Bethel, whatever. It's a lifetime of giving, and then when you finally have enough, they kick you out to the curb. Sorry, I got a little upset about that, but it's just triggering for me.
Well, it is
Hey,
triggering.
Rick, I was going to mention, I don't know if Rick, I was going to mention, I don't know if this is Justin again, if your viewers had a chance to see this documentary. It was recently on, and it was about the basketball player Kevin Garnett. And I didn't know this, but he was raised in Greenville, South Carolina, but he was raised a witness. And speaking to the sister who mentioned having to make sacrifices. He had to literally hide playing basketball from his mother for 3 years until one of her clients, she did hair, and they told her, your son Kevin is a great basketball player. And she was like, well, what are you talking about? He doesn't play basketball. And the client was like, yes, he does. Do you know we would have been cheated out of the great skills of Kevin Garnett if it wasn't from him having the ability to sneak around for 3 years. Great basketball player, but he mentioned, he said, hey, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. You only could play with other witnesses. My mother wouldn't allow me to play. And he said he grew 6 inches to be 6'6" in the junior high school, and they just begged him to play. But the young lady mentioned the sacrifices that you make with this organization and some of the talent that is wasted and missed by all this dubious work to make do. It's just unbelievable. And I just thought about it when I was watching that program. I didn't know he grew up a witness, but we would have missed the great talent of Kevin Garnett. I think he won a championship in Boston, your area, some years back, all because of the Watchtower. It's just horrible or whatnot.
Well, no, that's good. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Justin. That brings back some memories. And really, how much talent has really gone to waste because the witnesses could not use the talent that God gave them, really. Yeah. So anyways, we've got... Okay.
This is Apostle Babe, Linda James.
Yes, Linda.
Hi. So was that 4747 Joe that was just talking to us about the conventions? Was that Joe? I wanted to ask him a question because I can recall discussions about, how they would not let the vendors into the stadiums and such, but they, from what I recall, and I just wanted to run this past Joe to see if it's correct, they would also tell the witnesses to pack their own lunches and to not go out into, the surrounding areas to grab lunch, but to rather eat their lunch there in the stadiums. Is Joe there?
That's correct. That was actually in the insert of the back then the Kingdom Ministry. They encouraged that, and let me tell you, when elders saw families do that, they were counseled. They were counseled.
Oh my!
Back from the conventions.
Now, see, I'm just going to imagine here that the powers that be with the Watchtower are negotiating with the stadium, and they don't want the vendors there. But to be even more narcissistic leadership, they make sure that their people will not benefit the community. That's the thing about Jehovah's Witnesses. We do not consider ourselves a community with society at large. Our insular group is our community. So that's why we don't see anything as far as, charities like other churches do. Because churches are given funding from the government to be able to hand out things that the community could use. Watchtower doesn't do that.
That's right. That's why they should take their tax status away from them, but they get away with it.
Amazingly. And so here we are growing up, watching Sophia Loren. Oh, I better stop now. Okay. Caleb and Sophia. Correction. And this Sophia kid actually wants some ice cream. Like, this would be a self-interest, okay? But even, it's like, you can even compare it to self-care. Getting something you would like. Yes, we have all these obligations, but we are to put any self-interest of our own aside and remember that God is first and he preempts everything, which means, AKA the organization is first. So we have to sacrifice even self-care and give our money to the organization. I mean, we're trained and literally conditioned to not treat ourselves good. And earlier when we were talking about the representative from the Watchtower who's on these, what looks to be news shows, I've been following him since April, since the pandemic started. He's on all these different places, which I do believe he's getting paid. This is just a belief. Russell did it all the time. I mean, it is a business. That's what businesses should do. But what he will start to say is that we are doing this letter writing and everything for the love of neighbor. And if you think about it, he's quoting scripture. The scripture is to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. He never says as we love ourselves. That doesn't get taught. Any love of self, any care of self does not get taught. So yeah, come by and visit us sometime later on. Joe, 4747. Good to hear your voice.
One last comment I want to say, Rick. I hope you don't mind. This last week I've been, really reflecting, and the Watchtower has sucked me dry. I am, I lost 3 friends to suicide from the Watchtower. I survived, but it's so sad that I've been out for almost 9 years, a little over almost 9 years, and I still have the nightmares. I still have trouble trying to figure out how I let these people dupe me into slaving for them. A total of 49 years if I add my childhood. And I wish I could go back in time, but you can't go back in time. And so the Watchtower sadly still has a grip on me, because when I go to bed at night, despite the fact that I pray, I still am affected by the indoctrination.
If you could give yourself a little grace and maybe rethink things in a manner of, you were deceived. You were deceived. You grew up in it like at a young age. Your family got recruited, and you, during your developmental years, was part of this organization. So it's very much considered as though you were born in, because it's during the developmental time of your growth. So there was no other option we were given as we grew up in this organization. There was no other option but to become a baptized member and become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the statement itself, one of Jehovah's Witnesses, means our identity, who we are, is about being one of the whole group. And this whole put on the new personality meant to get rid of our own and to put on the society's personality. No bit of our own personality was able to grow. The basketball player that the gentleman was just talking about, he had to hide this. Some lady tells his mother, "Your son's a great basketball player," thinking this is an awesome compliment, having no idea that this kid's forbidden to play basketball. Society at large can't even fathom this kind of authoritarian control. This is what we grew up under, Joe. And next year will be 40 years since I left the org. And it still daily affects me. And as far as dreams and my opinion and what I've heard is, it's a way of your brain trying to make sense of what has happened to you. And I know that these dreams are horrible to you. But I think when we understand the techniques and the tactics that the organization used to deceive us, to be so faithful and to be so dependent upon the organization, it helps us realize that they gaslighted us to be dependent upon them. Okay? If we got too dependent on ourselves, we would be counseled. That's bad. Okay? The more we were dependent on the organization, the more spiritual we were. They had to make sure that developmentally and socially we did not mature, because then we would leave the coop. We would fly the coop. The organization is considered Mother Org and Jehovah Father. So we never had a chance to grow up mentally or socially. This stuff is very normal.
Thank Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Hey, Linda, can I add to that?
I appreciate you, Joe. Yeah, is this Angela?
Yes, it is. Hi, Linda. Great talk.
Hi, Angela.
Great comments. Hey, listen, I wanted to add to that one of the other ways that they do that is by putting in your mind right away that you are just good for nothing slaves, and that what you're doing you ought to be doing anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What will become of a person like that? They know good and well that if you teach a child or even adult that they're good for nothing, anything, they will become good for nothing. So that was the way that they weakened us heavily and greatly to just become so weak and so nothing, and just that, we're not even good enough to be the higher ups. We're not even good enough to drink the wine. We're not even good enough. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just disgusting. And of course, nothing good's going to come from that. So yeah, they know what the heck they're doing, that for sure.
When somebody, thank you, Angela.
Angela, thank you.
When somebody is first recruited, one of the first things that they are told is, trust in your heart, is a dangerous thing. Leaning on your own wisdom leads to death. So this is the gaslighting process. People wonder, how do these people ever let this cult tell us what the hell to do? That's because we were trained and convinced, we were deceived and convinced that actually having them make the decisions for us was much more safe for us than us making our own decisions. So that's the deception that was used on us to give over our, decision-making skills to something that we were taught to believe can be trusted better because it's God, right? God's not going to lead us the wrong way, okay? But we've made a few mistakes, and, some of it we might not want to ever mention, So we think of ourselves and we think of perfect God. The organization equals God. Theocratic means government ruled by God. So the organization is a theocratic organization. There's so many things that makes it a cocktail to intertwine the deception that you and I both had to go through. So if you can give yourself a little bit of grace that it was, you were not stupid, you were deceived. And when your parents and your spiritual leadership is all directing you in the same way, why wouldn't you head that way? Why wouldn't you do what you're doing? You get compliments, you get encouragement when you do things in the manner the Watchtower wants you to do, and you get counseled when you do something in the manner you want to do. That's classic conditioning, Pavlovian dog-like training, okay?
Yeah.
When people get a title, yes.
And we're not good for nothing slaves. We're
not.
We're made in the image
and
and likeness of God. Go ahead.
And having that mindset of a slave, it might not be that, negative. It can be labeled something else. You know what I'm saying? Not just good for nothing. That's battered spouse syndrome crap. You would be nothing without me. Nobody's going to associate with you, and I'm going to make sure you're scared crapless of everybody else. So you won't associate with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like this concoction, and it just goes on and on and on. Why do they tell us we have to go to the meetings during vacation? Because we will begin to lean back and reflect. That's why people are leaving now. Because of this pandemic, they've actually got time to lean back and reflect. Yes, going door to door is useless. The organization knows this. But the fact is they're keeping these people who have been indoctrinated to believe that if they do not share the gospel, the good news, they will not survive Armageddon. It's a mandate. This is what they must do. So they keep them busy doing it in whatever shape or form the organization instructs them to do it. This is simply a filler to make sure their time is occupied. Cult 101 from Margaret Thatcher, who was a new religious movement person from Berkeley, California. back when they were first coming out and giving education. She says the first thing they want to do is monopolize your time. Once somebody can get all of your time filled up, they got you.
Yeah, and
it's also one of the things they did to us.
And I'm not going to add too much more, but especially when I was an elder, that I had no time for myself. I had no time. My time was completely occupied. But I do want to thank everybody for allowing me. I just love this community, and thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. It really helped me.
I'll tell you what, it helps me when you share your videos and your experiences. I learned so much, so thank you. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Am I being,
hi.
sorry, am I getting through here?
Go ahead. You're all set. Go ahead, sister.
Hi, what's your name?
Oh, right.
Go ahead.
So, hi, it's Hazel here in the UK. How are you, Linda?
Oh my God, it's you!
Great.
It's JW Certified.
No,
I like to think I don't get like nuts over actors, but XJWs, I'm like, oh my God, it's you.
No, Linda, you've been saying some real right on words here, but if Joe's still with us, I wanted to know, a couple of us have said in the chat here, that Joe is so loved by us all. He has been so appreciated. He was doing great videos for a while, really helped people, and it's a shame he's so hard on himself because he is loved, and he's loved for a reason. It's not just random, just because he's an exchange who's made videos. It's because of himself and what he's given. And I've seen him be perhaps too honest and hard on himself, And what I see is he will say things that he's upset about. But what he's saying to me is that he's a human being. I'm a human, but Watchtower trained him to go, oh, be hard on yourself. So that's why I called in. Anyway, to say love Joe.
Thank you. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Well, my
I'm really
goodness.
glad you said that.
Yeah, we've got, we're coming up with.
I feel the same way.
Great to hear all you guys speaking up, and thank you, Linda, too, and thank you, Joe, and thank you for the lady coming in from the UK. Lots of people coming through the 6 screens here tonight. We've got about 5 minutes left, and then we got Reese. Reese is coming in from the belly of the beast, and he's going to give you the history of the Illuminati and how Russell was involved with them as well. He's got a lot of other things to talk about as well, but he'll be on. Linda, you'll be coming on at midnight tonight. That'll be 12 o'clock our time, 9 o'clock your time, okay?
Okie dokie, thank you.
Okay, just to give you an idea, good comments. And boy, all the people commenting tonight's been wonderful. Reese, I'm not sure if you want to go on YouTube live tonight. We could do that if you want. I'm not sure. If you can hear me, Reese, you want to write there. Do you want to come on, Reese, on YouTube Live? I'll send you a link and you can come on. Maybe you just want to stay on the video suite here. I'm not sure. We'll leave it up to you. But anyways, Reese will be coming up here in about 4 minutes. But friends, I want to tell you, we've been doing really great here lately. We get a lot of new ones coming in. You heard them tonight. The 6 screens is growing. We've been doing this now for 16 years. We've been around a long time, and we will send Reese the link. Hey, Linda, I want you to hang in with us for a little bit, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Reese on, but it's going to take me a little while to go through YouTube and get the link and all of that. You still there with us, Linda, Apostle Babe?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak for about 2 minutes here, and then I'm going to bring you on. And then I'm going to be able to get Reese set up to come in on YouTube. Okay, so why don't you hang in there, and then you can talk to the people for a little bit, probably about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'll get things set up for our new YouTube coming up. So that's good, because we can only do so many things at once here. All right, so hang in there. Hey, listen, friends, I want to thank you all for coming in here tonight. And I have to tell you, really, I'm really pleased. I'm really, really pleased with what I'm seeing going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Many, many people are leaving right now. And if you're listening in and you're one of them, don't you be a stranger here. You speak up one of these times. And I want to give a shout out to all the apostates, even Joe with his YouTube videos, and even all the people out there, John Cedars, My goodness, and I want to congratulate him. 100,000 subscribers. John, I'm proud of you, buddy. Lloyd Evans is his other name. He's doing great. He's bringing a lot of people out of the Watchtower. Mike and Kim, JW Escape, Critical Thinker, all of these people that have been helping, Joe, yourself included, bringing people out of the Watchtower. And the lady, too, from England. All of these people, all of us working together can make a big difference, a really big difference. And getting our points up on the scoreboard. We're not mentally diseased. We're not agents of Satan, the devil. We are just honest-hearted people speaking up about how evil the Watchtower is. Now, listen, if you'd like to help us here at the Six Screens, I don't want a penny. Don't send me a penny. I don't want you to send any money to the Six Screens. What I would like you to do, if you really like what's going on here tonight, and you like hearing these programs with all these people calling in from all over the world, why don't you share the video if you're on Facebook? Or why don't you like us or subscribe to us if you're on YouTube? That's all I want. I don't want no money. Send me no money. I'm okay. I don't want to get paid for trying to get you out of the Watchtower. All right. Now, tomorrow we have Six Screen Sunday. Now, on Sunday, we take a little bit different feel. On Saturday night, we don't preach to you. There's no preaching that goes on Saturday night. But on Sundays, maybe you're a person that's leaving the Watchtower because of theological teachings. Maybe you're saying, my goodness, they are dead wrong with the scriptures. Well, tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock, we have Six Screen Sunday. It takes on a spiritual field. And we have a program called Knowing God. 2 Christian apologists coming on tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock. And the topic simply is going to be, what is mankind according to Scripture, and what is our purpose? Well, in other words, why are we here? Well, what is mankind according to the Scriptures? Well, that's all about tomorrow on Knowing God. And then, of course, at JW World News comes on at 2 o'clock. And then Anne Marie comes in from Northern California, and she wants to talk about what is the core belief? What's the core belief behind the Watchtower? Core belief part 2 coming up. And then Jay Hess. Oh, my goodness, Jay Hess. He was one time associated with the Watchtower writing department, and he actually worked on the Trinity brochure. He has his own program. He's now an ex-witness. He's out of the Watchtower, but he has his own program right here on the Six Screens every other Sunday, Making Disciples with Jay. Why don't you join us tomorrow? Same telephone number, everything. Why don't you come in tomorrow beginning at 1 o'clock? I think you'll find it very, very interesting. I guess that's it. Now, look, we also have a Six Screens Facebook group. Why don't you join that? And spread the word. Let people know that, hey, you listen in to the Six Screens. Let them know on Reddit. Let them know on JWN. Let them know that we have a program every Saturday night, and we're trying to help so many people leaving the Watchtower. Thank you very much. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Linda James, you're going to come in, fill in for about 5 minutes here. And then I'm going to, okay, there you go, Linda. You can just talk about whatever you want. I'm going to try to get Reese on YouTube. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, thank you. So since Rick is getting things set up for Reese and his show tonight, being that Rick just talked about the light getting brighter and brighter, this has been one of those foundational things